There you go, everybody. For all those who thought that the Lake District had been decimated by the recent floods, think again. Welcome back to Fell Riders Diaries. So it's been about 6 months since I've done one of these entries, which seems like a hellish of a long time. And the only story worth talking about, really, is the floods here in the Lake District back in December the 6th. Storm Desmond. That's the one that done the real damage. Now, the thing about Storm Desmond was, being D, A, B, C, D, it means that there were 3 storms before that. I forget their names, I don't know. Anna, Betty and Colin, who cares? The point was that these 3 storms basically saturated all the catchment areas for the runoff. Naturally, when the rain falls, it falls down all the fells. The fells run down into the lakes and the lakes overflow. That's how it works. But because of the first 3 storms, the actual groundwater that had fallen already had saturated the Lake District. By the time Desmond came, and let's face it, Desmond was the biggest out of the 4 of them, the water just had nowhere to go. This road that we are on at the moment, this was flooded. This had about 2 feet of water on it. Poor Glen Ridding got flooded about once a week for a month. And we're not talking about, you know, a couple of inches of water. We're talking about feet of water just running through. Pooley Bridge, glorious Pooley Bridge, has a lovely old stone bridge. It'd been there about 250 years, I think. That got washed away. That didn't stand a chance. Other places got hit. Appleby always gets hit. Appleby suffers a huge amount. Carlisle, that's been hit 3 times now in the last 10 years. After the floods of 2009, they put up flood defences levees along the River Exe and out into the Solway Firth that could have stood, or rather withstood, 7.2 metres of floodwater. 7.2, eh? Storm Desmond brought 7.9. Areas around Carlisle city centre, particularly Warwick Road, or Warwick Street, I forget exactly. I mean, these places were 3 feet, 4 feet of water. It's coming in through their windows. These poor buggers, they'll never get flood insurance again. If they do, they'll pay an absolute fortune for it. And so, yeah, we got hit in a big way, and a bad way. And everyone was saying, oh, Lake District, it's ruined, it's been torn apart. And yes, it has, but I'll tell you what, I've been up here 5 years now. I have never seen a community spirit like I've seen here over the past 6 months. I mean, honestly, people working around the clock just for their common neighbour. And you'd rather hope that the government got involved. And eventually they did. The environmental agencies started turning up after maybe a month or 6 weeks. But here we are in the middle of March, just a couple of weeks before Easter. And lo and behold, it's almost back to normal. I say almost, you know, you're still going to find a couple of shops that are closed down because it's just not worth a privateer renewing a lease on a property that's flood damaged on the understanding that it could happen again. You know, it's not without its faults. People have given up to a certain degree, but by far it's the minority. Like I say, I've only been up here 5 years. I guess local Cumbrians are used to this. It's happened, as I said before, it's happened 3 times in 10 years now. So, you know, you have to wonder, A, if it will happen again, and B, whether people are constantly going to have that resource to rebuild over and over. So here we are, we're coming to Glen Ridding, and I'm going to take you as close as I can to the river. There used to be, I say used to be, there used to be a tourist information up here, but after one particularly heavy downpour, people at Glen Ridding woke up one morning and found it full of rocks. because that's how it happens. So this is the river, and you can see the affected area straight away. Now, as I say, this river was up to the windows of the properties on the opposite side of the road, which means all this is flooded. You can see where the rubble has come onto the car park. You can see the broken surfaces. But they're trying to get it back together again. They're trying to rebuild, and it's commendable. It really, really is. At the moment, we've got some road resurfacing going on between Aeroforce and Watermilk. Now, this is a bit of a concern because Aeroforce is one of the big tourist attractions around here, and the other big concern, particularly for Pawley Bridge, is, as I said, the bridge is washed away, which makes access to it extremely limited, especially when you consider that the only other access is via Amont Bridge, and although that's stood, it's been struck off at the moment as structurally unstable, so they're rebuilding that at the moment. This means that the village of the actual village of Pawley Bridge has been reduced to a virtual cul-de-sac. You don't go through there to get to somewhere else. You go through there and you come back out again, and that's pretty much it. The good news is they've placed a temporary bridge at Pawley, and that opens next week, which is glorious. Now, it's not going to be as picturesque as the one that got washed away naturally, but what it does is it provides a thoroughfare. You can actually get through it now, and that's important. The other big story around here was the A591. Now, the A591 runs like a backbone all the way from Kendal, through Windermere, through Ambleside, through Grasmere, and eventually past Thirlmere Reservoir, so there's lots of gravel here, and up to Keswick. And that road got washed away. I mean, literally, it got washed away. The amount of water falling down from the fells, and bearing in mind this 591, it runs in a valley, so you got fells either side, and it's like a two-pronged attack. Once the road's defences had become worn through, all that's left underneath there is like a soft shell type peat, and the water just washed that through. The blacktop crumbled, collapsed, and half the road disappeared. Not only that, but as we go past Thirlmere Reservoir, there were thousands, and I mean thousands, of tons of debris washed down from the fell side. We had the 2nd Lancastrian Regiment helping us out down here. They worked around the clock 24/7 for I don't know how many weeks to get rid of all that debris off the side of the road, and then that was only so we could get access to the damaged parts to get that repaired, because naturally you couldn't get the heavy plant machinery through. So it's been an enormous task these past few months, but I'm pleased to say vast areas of the Lake District are now open for business again. So I guess this is like my public announcement bit. Come to the Lake District. I can assure you it is still glorious. You're going to find things like this, sure, that happens. You're going to find a road that's closed, which is the 591. That's not going to open until the end of May, by the sounds of things. But Keswick and the Borrowdale Valley is absolutely fine. Langdale's absolutely fine. Elter Water, Ambleside, Grasmere absolutely fine, with the exception that you can't get to Grasmere from Keswick. If you need to get past the 591 where it's being repaired from, say, Ambleside, you have to go over the Struggle, pick up the Kirkstone Pass, come down to 592, just like I'm doing here, and then you've got to head up through Dockwray, which is the route I'm going to be taking in a second. You'll find out very shortly where the road is closed at Aeroforce. So you go up through Dockwray, pick up the A66 and follow that into Keswick. Now, it might sound a bit of a faff, it might sound a bit of a palaver, but honestly, It's a beautiful route to ride, drive, cycle. I wouldn't recommend walking it. All I will say to the motorcyclists who are planning to come up here, keep an eye out on the road surface. There's an awful lot of gravel that came off the fells, off the dry stone walls. It got washed into the roads. There we go, road closed, that's Error False. So this is the Dockway Road. Yeah, there's a lot of gravel on the roads. But if you catch it on a good day, and make no mistake, I waited for a good day, then it is still a glorious place to be. So there you go, that's my bit for Cumbrian tourism. Come to the Lake District. It's lovely, but don't come all at once, because then it's going to get congested, and that's not going to be anything like as much fun. Only other news I've got, and it's a smaller side, is I've got a visit from Practical Sports Bike magazine a week or two ago. They're running articles on owners and bikes who had racked up large mileages. I don't know if you can see, I'm up to 98,600 and something miles. And I'm hoping to crack the 100k sometime this summer, naturally. Gravel. So I got a visit from them. Photographer turned up, took a couple of shots, and I got a nice phone call from Alan Seeley, one of the article editors there, and we had a little chat about the bike, like you do. So keep an eye on Practical Sports Bikes. I think it's out at the end of the April edition's out at the end of March, and you might just see my ugly mug in there. Proudly displaying the Del Boys Garage t-shirt because I don't have one of their caps. I look like a tit in a cap. I gave them a quick plug as well because frankly the YouTube channel deserves it. Yeah, not a bad day, not a bad life. So that'll do from me. Take care everyone, and I'll speak to you all soon.